And welcome back. Here's your latest California housing market update. This is part 2 of my 2-part video series I make for you guys each and every month. Part 1 was regarding what's happening at the statewide level. This video is all about what's happening at the county-wide level for the 53 counties that the California Association of Realtors tracks. I'm going to give you an update regarding home sales, home prices, and much more in today's video. Let's go ahead and dive right in. And of course, if you guys get any value out of today's video, then please hit the like button. Also, consider subscribing as well. I post frequent housing market updates so you guys can be more informed. Let's begin. So here's a snapshot overall what's happening at the state. And this is for the month of August. I'll have September's numbers in about 2 to 3 weeks. So looking at home sales, which by the way, this video is only looking at single family existing houses. So excluding multifamily properties, of course, excluding brand new houses. So sales rose by 2.8% this August compared to August of 2023. The median sale price just under $889,000. That's up by 3.4% year over year. The unsold inventory index, which is the month supply, is at 3.2 months. And days in the market is at 22 days. So houses on average selling about 3 weeks after the homeowner lists their house for sale. All right, let's talk about the regions that they actually cover. And keep in mind these stats when looking at these numbers here. So SoCal sales actually decreased by 2.3%, much different compared to the nearly 3% gain we're seeing at the statewide level. So SoCal sales decreasing, but home prices are up by 4%. These metrics below here are all on par with the statewide average, especially regarding this ratio, which is the sale price to list price ratio at 100%, which means for the month of August, for all the houses that did sell, they sold for, or on average, the seller's asking price or seller's final asking price. Okay, that's SoCal. Let's take a look at the Central Coast. Sales there rose by 3% on par with the state. But look at this, $1,035,000. That was the median sale price in August, which means for all the houses that closed or the sale was finalized in August, half sold below that number. Of course, half sold above that number. That's a giant increase, up by 8.9%, quite a bit higher compared to the statewide average at, going the wrong direction here, at a gain of 3.4%. The month supply and also days in the market is on par with the state, but the sale price to final list price ratio is actually a little bit more softer. Homes selling about 1.3 percentage points less than the seller's final list price. Where on average for the state, that ratio is at 100%. All right, that's the Central Coast. Let's take a look at the Central Valley, where I live and work as a real estate agent here in the greater Sacramento area. Sales only increased by 0.8% year over year, but home prices are on par with the statewide average, a gain of 3%. These other metrics below here, more or less on par with the statewide average as well. In the Bay Area, entirely different animal, and what really stands out to me is this right here, which is right there, excuse me. Home prices are down by 1.6% year over year. That's the only major region in California in which prices decreased compared to 1 year ago. And also looking at around $1.2 million for the median sale price. But home sales are up by 4.8%. These metrics tend to be a little bit more competitive compared to the statewide average. So for example, the month supply is at 2.5 months compared to, 3.2 months for the state as a whole. Also in the Bay Area, houses selling a little bit faster compared to the state as a whole. And also houses on average selling about 0.3 percentage points over the seller's average list price or list price on average. All right, let's take a look at the far north. The far north kind of varies greatly, but these metrics below here is on par with what we should expect because the far north tends to be a little bit less competitive compared to other areas, especially the San Francisco Bay Area. So houses taking longer to sell, homes selling less than the seller's asking price, and the month supply is a little bit higher compared to the state as well. In regards to home sales as a whole for the state, sales in August slipped to the lowest level in about 7 months. So the current sales pace, at least for August, was 262,000 units, which is the number that is seasonally adjusted and also annualized as well. So at the current sales pace for August, multiply that by 12, do a seasonal adjustment, you get to this number right here. That is an increase of 2.8% year over year, but down greatly from 1 month ago, down 6.3%. We should expect a decrease in sales from July to August, but a decrease of 6.3% is a little bit excessive. And again, if you missed my previous video, I actually went into great detail regarding stats in home prices and sales at the statewide level. So take a look at that, which is my previous California update, which I made about 1 week ago. Here's something I found to be interesting as well. It just kind of goes to show how large the Southern California market is. So out of all the home sales in August, 43% came from SoCal, which is basically the combination of the Central Valley and the Bay Area at around, what was this, about 43%, actually exactly the same compared to SoCal. The far north, only 3% of all home sales, and of course the Central Coast, only 4%. So relatively small markets compared to these other regions as well. Over here to the right, they talk about home sales from 1 month ago, which is the orange bar, and sales compared to August of 2023. The only areas that experienced a gain in sales from 1 year ago was the Central Coast, up by 3%, the San Francisco Bay Area up by 4.8%, and the Central Valley increased by 0.8%. But the far north and SoCal all decreased compared to 1 year ago. So that obviously is a lagging indication regarding a closed home sale, because that's really what the market was like approximately 1 and 2 months ago when the home buyer got their offer accepted. Same goes for the median sale price. A lead indicator, though, of closed home sales in the coming months is pending home sales, because that posted the biggest increase year over year since May of 2021. We've basically been in negative territory in 21 through really much of 2000, actually all of 2023. And right now we're up by 7.7% year over year. This means we could see an increase of closed home sales in September, because we're seeing an increase of pending home sales in August up by 7.7%. It is good to see that we're seeing an increase of contracts being signed, but the gains are much less than what we saw back in 2021, for example. In the early parts, let's just call it the spring home buying season, pending home sales surged by about 80%. But it's also much better than the, 50% decreases we saw back in late 2022. Quite the volatility, to say the least, right? All right, let's talk about prices as well. And as I mentioned in my previous video here, California's median home price had the smallest year-over-year gain in 11 months. That's a gain of 3.4%. But it did increase up by 0.2%, which if my memory serves me correct here, according to the National Association of Realtors for the month of August, for the nation as a whole, home prices actually decreased compared to the previous month, but in California, we're up by 0.2%. Real estate is local. So let's talk about this as well, because again, remember, the average sale price to final list price ratio is at 100% for the month of August, which again means that home sellers who did sell their house sold for their final list price on average. But every market's different. So this dotted line is at 50%, which means any county above this amount or above this line means that houses on average are selling over the seller's asking price. So those counties are these, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 5 counties. That's San Francisco, San Mateo, Alameda, Santa Clara, and also Yolo County as well. Houses on average selling over the seller's asking price. So for example, in San Francisco, approximately 72% are selling over the seller's asking price, and then around 65% in San Mateo and Alameda counties. So the Bay Area is still a competitive market overall regarding that. In contrast, let's look at these find a bigger county. Plumas County, a little bit bigger compared to these others as well. So Plumas County, for example, only around 20% are selling over asking. This means about 80% are selling below or at the asking price for the month of August. In contrast, Sacramento County is in the top 10 with the biggest amount of selling over asking. And that ratio in Sacramento was approximately just over 40% this August. So 40% selling over asking and approximately 60% selling less than the seller's asking price. All right, changing gears slightly here to talk about inventory numbers. So active listings, or the amount of houses for sale, reached its highest level in nearly 2 years this August for the state as a whole, which is this right here. Barely less than the peak we saw back in 2022. So the amount of houses we have for sale right now in California is higher than last year, 21, and 2020. But we are still lagging behind pre-COVID. So for example, back in August of 2018, over 60,000 homes for sale. And right now we have approximately, just eyeballing this, around 40,000 homes for sale, which of course is much less than August of 2019, when at that time we had approximately 60,000 homes for sale as well. This is much different compared to Florida and Texas, for example. They have far more houses for sale compared to the past several years, and more homes for sale compared to 2019, up by about 9 to about 8%. Compare that to California, we're down by about 30% compared to the same time frame in 2019, which is helping support home price growth here in the state. Looking at inventory levels from 1 year ago, we're up by 39.2% for the state as a whole. And one of the reasons for this, as I explained in my video from last week, is because we're seeing an increase in the number of new listings. In other words, people listing their houses for sale. So during this time frame, which is basically in 2022 through most of 2023, we saw a decrease of new listings compared to the previous year. But now for the past, what is this? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, approximately 8 months, we've had more new listings compared to 1 year ago. Now here's the big change though. So even though we have more new listings compared to last August, when comparing the previous August back in 2018 through 2022, we actually have fewer new listings compared to what we're seeing this August. So in other words, we have more new supply hitting the market from last year, but we're still lagging behind the past several years, especially looking at pre-COVID levels. So in August of 2019, just under 27,000 new listings. Now we have just under 22,000. August 2018, approaching 31,000. And right now we have approximately 10,000 less this August. So a lack of new supply in the market, especially looking at pre-pandemic era. And this, of course, is one of the reasons why we have a lack of homes for sale compared to 2019. The last stat I read was that approximately 75% of homeowners who do have a loan on their house on a national level, 75% have a rate below 5%. So a lot of people are not trading in their 5% or less than 5% rate and taking on a rate in the low sixes to buy a house right now, which has been limiting the amount of new supply hitting the market. Even though we have far fewer homes compared to 2019 and 2018, the inventory levels, or the growth rate of inventory, is far outpacing home sales. So there's an imbalance between supply and demand, supply rising faster than home sales. So, just kind of taking a step back here, if our market was just on fire, if our housing market was very, very competitive, if we had a sharp increase of in the number of homes for sale, we should expect to see a sharp increase in sales. But right now we're not seeing that. Let's just say that. So this is a look at for these major regions: the Bay Area, SoCal, the Central Valley, the Central North, the Central Coast, and the far north. They have a big increase of active listings. Let's just look at every one of these except for the far north. So for these 4 major regions here, active listings compared to 1 year ago has increased by at least 36%, whereas sales barely squeaked out a game. The Central Coast saw a small increase, up by 3% in sales compared to 1 year ago, even though they have approximately 36.7% more homes for sale. It's actually worse in the Central Valley. Inventory up by about 41%, but sales barely squeaking out a gain, up by 0.8%. And SoCal is actually the worst of these regions, nearly 45% more homes for sale, but sales decreased by 2.3%. This is one of the main reasons why inventory has been increasing, because inventory growth is far outpacing closed home sales. Something to keep in mind though is that a closed home sale again is a lag indicator. So I'm curious to see how this will change in September, given that pending home sales, a future indication of closed home sales, could mean that we could see an increase of closed home sales in September. Now take a look at this because this is also pretty wild as well. We're not seeing just kind of a small sliver of the market in which housing supply has been increasing. It is more or less statewide. So housing supply has increased in all of the counties that they track, except for 4 of them. This means that 49 of the 53 counties tracked by CR, or the California Association of Realtors, recorded an increase in the number of homes for sale. Therefore, 93% of California's counties has posted a gain from 12 months ago. The only counties that posted a decrease is Glenn County, Kings, Trinity, and San Francisco. In contrast, look at these other counties, especially in the East Bay of California. Alameda County is up by 124.4%. Then we have Contra Costa County, Stanislaus County, San Joaquin, Calaveras, and San Diego up by about 60% or more. All right, let's change gears slightly here and talk about home prices from 1 year ago and 1 month ago, and also home sales as well for these major regions, but also all these counties as well. And feel free to pause and screenshot if you guys want to see your county in which you're looking to buy a house or the county you live in to get some insights regarding that, because I won't go over all these counties. Otherwise, this video would be 15 hours long and no one would watch it, right? All right, so overall, according to CAR, 36 of the 53 counties that are tracked by them reported a gain in home prices from 1 year ago. This means that 68% of California's counties are up and only 32% are down this August. In looking at home sales, this is actually a different animal here. So 26 of the 53 counties tracked by CAR recorded sales increasing from 1 year ago, with 10 of them jumping by more than 10% year over year. So roughly half of the counties have posted an increase and half reported a decrease from 12 months ago. Now keep in mind, 93% of California's counties have more homes for sale this August compared to August of 2023. Therefore, supply is outpacing closed home sales overall in California. All right, let's take a look at these major regions and also how that compares to the statewide average. So again, for the state, prices up. When I mean prices, I'm talking about the median sale price, up by 3.4% year over year. Sales fell by 6.3% month to month, and sales increased by 2.8% from 12 months ago. The most expensive regions is the Central Coast. The median sale price up by, or not up, at around $1 million. The Bay Area, just over 1.2 million. But prices decreased there, down by 1.6. In contrast, we're up by 7.7% in the far north from 1 year ago, and the Central Coast is up by 8.9%. The only regions that posted a decrease in sales from 1 year ago is actually in the far north, which is right here, and also Inland Empire down by 3.4%, and SoCal down by 2.3%, as well as the Los Angeles metro area down by 3.5% in sales from 1 year ago. Now let's take a look at the Bay Area as a whole. I mean, just look at these prices here. San Mateo, $1.9 million. Santa Clara, just under $1.9 million. Absolutely astonishing there. San Mateo, prices fell by 2.6%. San Francisco is down by 3%. Napa, the stats vary greatly by the month, so I don't put a whole lot of weight in this decrease, down by 7.4%. You could have a sale or a mega sale in which they have a lot of land, and that kind of skews the month-to-month changes, and also compared to 1 year ago as well, frankly. Marin's down by 1.7%. Contra Costa is down by 0.3%. Alameda, though, is barely squeaking out a gain, up by 1.8%. And Sonoma is down by 4.8%. In looking at sales, we saw big decreases in Alameda, down by 13% there. Marin down by nearly 30% in one single month. And also San Francisco is down by over 24% as well. All regions here, or all counties in the Bay Area, posted a decrease in sales from 1 month ago, which is seasonal. But looking at year-over-year changes here, Contra Costa, Alameda, Marin, San Francisco, San Mateo, Santa Clara, Solano, and Sonoma all posted gains year over year. Okay, let's take a look at SoCal. The most expensive county, again, is Orange County, $1.4 million. I remembered a couple of years ago, this was around $1 million. So a big increase over the past several years, and a big increase compared to 1 year ago as well, up by 6.9%. Imperial County, what's going on there? A gain of 22%. I'm guessing they probably had a big sale in August, and which kind of skewed the results on a year-over-year basis. This does not mean if you own a home in any of these counties that your home value just increased by these amounts. These are only the median sale price compared to 1 year ago. In contrast, San Diego is only up by 1%, also down by 1% month to month. We're around $1 million there in San Diego. In the Central Coast, Monterey, love Monterey. Prices are flat, but Santa Barbara, a decrease of 18%. Again, the stats tend to vary quite a bit on a month-to-month basis here. Santa Cruz up by 8.3%. Sales rose by 9.1%. In the Central Valley, let's take a look at Sacramento right here. Home prices are up by 4.5%, higher than the statewide average, and sales rose by 4% year over year, a little bit higher compared to the statewide as well. In Placer County, which encompasses parts of the greater Sacramento area, including parts of northern Lake Tahoe, so a big region, or a big county, I should say, prices only increased by 0.9%, yet sales decreased by 0.2%. Here's the far north, if you guys want to pause that and screenshot that. Other counties we can kind of go over. Amador County, which is a great place to go wine tasting, about 45 minutes away from Sacramento. Prices there decreased by 12%, and sales tanked down by 15%. Again, these counties in which they have a kind of a low level of sales, the trends can vary greatly in these areas. Other counties we can kind of talk about, Yolo County, prices there rose or actually decreased by 0.2%, and sales increased by 1.7%. Yuba County, pretty interesting to see here. Sales absolutely skyrocketed, up by 37.1% year over year, yet prices decreased by 0.3% from August of 2023. If you guys got any value out of today's video, then please hit the like button. Also, consider subscribing as well. Also, if you're interested in buying or selling a house in the greater Sacramento area, my team and I would love to help you. You can email me at jason@meetjasonwalter.com or check out my website, which is realestateteamfinder.com. Hope you guys have an awesome day. Look forward to seeing you on the next video.